Hello, this is Simple Life Philosophy, and I'm your host, Ed Raby. This is the channel where you're following along on my journey to find a simple philosophy of life that is both easy to understand and easy to execute. Please make sure that you like the video if you like it, share it, subscribe, comment below, hit your notification bell. Anything helps the YouTube algorithm. I also want to thank everybody because this is our 50th subscriber episode. I just hit 50 subscribers yesterday, and I want to thank everybody for subscribing so far. This is my first milestone goal. Next one will be 100, doubling what we have. And I kind of do that a little bit. It'll be 250, 500, 750, and then 1,000. Then after that, every 1,000 or so, I'll make mention of it. But the goal has always been, and I stated this back when this channel still had another name, I'm still trying to make you think. I'm still trying to be entertaining, and ultimately I'm also trying to find an alternative source of income. So the quicker I get to that level, the better. Today, as you saw in the title, I want to talk about self-sufficiency versus self-reliance. Now, the core of self-sufficiency, now the real problem with self-sufficiency is defining it. Because when I look at different pundits of self-sufficiency, of learning to be self-sufficient, growing your own food, producing your own electricity, really being like self-sufficient in the sense of it, the more I think about it, I do not think that complete self-sufficiency is possible in a human society. Because I look at some people, we're gardening, we're self-sufficient. Yeah, who made those gardening tools that you use? Did you order those from somebody who made them on a factory floor? Yeah. Okay, so unless you're like building a blacksmith forge and forging your own shit, unless you're, my point is this: human beings are social creatures by nature. And so what we end up doing in a lot of respects is okay. And to me, that's normal. Okay, I'm extremely introverted. I'm autistic, possibly. And for me, social interaction is difficult for a lot of reasons. One, I don't always interpret things correctly because of the autism, okay, the possibility of autism in my head, but it works and it fits. But also as an introvert, I have to gear myself up for social interaction, and then afterwards I have to actually like chill and rest. It actually fatigues me. So I get that, that introverted, that desire to be alone and away from everything. And that's part of the reason I want to do self-sufficiency too. But I realize that there's levels of self-sufficiency and different types of self-sufficiency. And I think that's what we need to define. Because self-sufficiency is a state. It's not a character, okay? And that's what I'm going to emphasize with self-reliance. Self-reliance to me is more the virtue, the character that we need to go for, which is learning new skills, building your life so that you're not a burden to others. That's a virtue, okay? And that, and you're able to help others when needed. The whole point of this, for me, is not so much self-sufficiency, but it's self-reliance. And self-sufficiency to me is kind of a tool in getting to that self-reliance. It's kind of a way of getting there. Self-reliance is more about, hey, I want to build new skills. I want to learn new things. I want to build some stuff that allows me not to be a burden to anybody else and to possibly help others in need. Okay, so that implies a lot of social interaction. This is why Stoicism, I think, has become part of my philosophy in a big way, because Stoicism is all about using rationality to build a better society and community. I see a lot of these people that are self-sufficient, they really push getting away from everybody, okay? And there's notable exceptions. I've seen some self-sufficient people, they like live in the city, okay? And they've taken their property in the city and transformed it into a way to grow their own food, have their own electricity, things like that, so that they're not reliant on other things. And I think that's important. And I think these are noble, worthy goals, but nobody is ever, going to be such an island to themselves that they can't look around and say, you know what, somebody else made that, or somebody else built that, or somebody else helped us with that. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Okay, I think there's this unrealistic desire to be completely self-sufficient, and I don't think that that's going to ever happen. I think what we need to do is work on being individually self-sufficient so that we're more good to the community around us. And that's kind of why I'm hinging more on the virtue of self-reliance, of trying to make it, and I'm using self-sufficiency as a tool to get there. I haven't really formalized a lot of my plans. I have a lot of ideas running around in my head. But mostly my thoughts are to get a piece of property, to get my cabin in the woods, so to speak, attach a greenhouse, attach a garden. But I also realized something else about this. This also has a time cost. And the reason why societies have specialized, okay, and don't do a lot of this self-sufficiency anymore is because one of the things that has gained us is time. Now, if you're a gardener person and you like gardening and that's your thing, then you're doing something that you enjoy when you're being self-sufficient. But if you don't enjoy gardening, but you still have the desire to be self-sufficient, how do you pull it off? And I don't really know that I do. One of the things I'm exploring, one of the things I'm doing is, I've never really been the gardener type. Okay, when my family was doing gardens, I was just never a part of it. My parents had asked me to come out and help every once in a while, but it's just like, okay, whatever. And I would do that. And then after I got out of that environment, I just never bothered to really plant anything or grow anything or any of that kind of thing. So I don't know, okay? So if I get to that moment of truth where I've got my little, I bought a little hydroponics garden, and I'm also going to buy like a regular, some soil and do some potted plants, and just kind of get a feel. How does this feel? Do I enjoy this? And if I discover I enjoy it, then yeah, the self-sufficiency aspect, that'll be great, because that might be another coping mechanism, another mechanism to help keep the stress level under control. And that would be great. Every time I discover a new one, it's awesome, because it allows me to be more self-reliant. It allows me to go, okay, when it comes to managing whatever this is that causes me to have a short circuit, managing my depression, managing my anxiety, if I find some other mechanism that allows me to deal with that a lot better, because right now I have weightlifting, right now I have writing, right now I have YouTubing. Okay, these are all things that not only help me do some things that I think are enjoyable and helpful in other ways, they really help me manage the other aspects of what I'm talking about. And so to me, this is the path. Self-sufficiency is the tool, and I'm trying to become, I think you really have to look at self-sufficiency on a spectrum as to how self-sufficient you are. But I don't think you're ever going to get to the extreme end of being completely self-sufficient, just like I think that nobody is completely dependent on everybody. There are certain things that everybody does for themselves, and in that sense they're self-sufficient. So I think the extreme ends of the spectrum are there, and it's a degree, and I just want to be more and more closer to that end that says I'm more and more self-sufficient, and I want to gradually get there. I left a comment on the Naked Gardener about, I thanked her for her videos, because I was like, you're really inspiring, and she says, hey, it's never too late to start this journey. And I want to thank her for that. So, but it's like I'm going forward with this, trying to figure out, because when you're 54, you don't have a lot of time, and you know that you don't have a lot of time. And a lot of people, you might have 20, 30 years. Yeah, I know that, okay? But the older you get, the more you realize that end is a little bit closer, and it's a little bit more uncertain, okay? I lift weights, I walk, I'm going to start walking again, I watch my diet, because I want to have the highest quality of life as I go forward. But I also know that entropy and a whole bunch of other things are going to get me, okay? There's no getting past. The Grim Reaper is waiting at the end, and he's grinning, or she's grinning, depending on how you look at it. I've always kind of pictured the Grim Reaper as a female. I don't know why. Makes her sexier, I guess. But it's just that kind of you know that's coming. Okay, you know that's there. And so I'm really looking more forward and trying to figure out, okay, I think the goal, the better one, is to simply use self-sufficiency, become more self-sufficient gradually over time, and thus become more self-reliant over time and build the character of self-reliant. The one thing about these nine noble virtues and pagan philosophy is they don't sit there and say you're a sinner and you need redemption from an outside power. The essential part of self-sufficiency is, and the nine noble virtues in pagan philosophy, is you're starting at a certain point, okay? Your goal is to be better today than you were yesterday, and you're going to be better tomorrow than you are today. It's a gradual process of self-improvement and continuing to improve, and that's why I like it. So that's kind of where I'm going for. I think self-sufficiency is a tool. It's a gradual spectrum, and it's not something that the extreme ends are really even real. They're kind of out there as phantom goals, or something to avoid depending on how you look at it, and you have to really work at it. So I'm trying to find the wisdom in moving forward and dealing with this, using self-sufficiency as a tool to learn and develop more self-reliance. So that's kind of where I am with this. I mean, give me your thoughts in the comments. I'm always appreciate the comments. I want to thank everybody who's been commenting. You're great. Okay, you're awesome. Thank you. You've given me a lot to think about. I'm not one of those people that gets real combative in the comments. I mean, if you have a different point of view, I'll gladly hear you out and I'll think about it. But I won't necessarily respond because I realize that I'm humble enough to realize I could be wrong. And I think that's where all of us need to be. We need to be humble to realize where we could be wrong, and we're always constantly evolving, and that's a good thing. So once again, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate everybody coming by. Make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If you've been here a couple times and you're wondering, you haven't subscribed yet, do it. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you share it with your friends if you really think it's important. Everything you do helps me out, and I appreciate that so much. This has been Simple Life Philosophy. I've been your host, Ed Raby, and continue that simple journey with me, and I appreciate everybody who's come along. And have a great day.